library. And then we're going to hear about some design updates from our design team on the main library and the Bob Lucas branch. So construction update on the Bob Lucas. I'm actually going to hand this over to our construction manager, Ben, if you want to come up here real quick and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Jennifer. Perfect. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ben Sawyer. I'm the construction manager with Huckabee for the Bob Lucas project. So I know we've got a lot to cover, so I'll make this really quick here. We started construction last month. So groundbreaking ceremony was held on April 18th. This is kind of an overview of the project here. You can see in the dark gray shadowed areas where we're doing our 2 expansions for the project. The good news was the project bid below the estimate, so we are off to a good start there. We had our construction start on May 6th of last month, and our scheduled completion, we're expecting May 6th of next year. We are going to do everything we can to push that forward if possible, but that's kind of what we're looking at right now. To provide a quick update of where we are right now, like I said, we've only been started for about a month here, so this is the exterior of the building here, seeing the front of the library where that the east side expansion is going. So we began grading and over excavating here, getting the soil ready in order to build a new structure on it. And as we're doing that, we're maintaining the garden as best as possible. We have to take out some of it in order to expand the building, but we're doing our best to maintain that garden as best we can. Moving to the inside of the building, you can see a before on the left side of the screen of what the building looked like before. And this is facing the north side. And like I said, we've started demolition inside here. So that's kind of where we're at now. We've exposed the beams and eaves, and where that plywood is on the back north wall there, that's where the building is going to expand outward on the north end. Moving to the front of the building here, this is going to be the new children's area here that you see on the right side of the plywood there. So again, that's on the opposite side of the wall is where we saw the heavy equipment moving soil there. So that's where that's going to expand outward. And then for my final slide here, we have the south end of the building. This was previously where the restrooms were. You can see we've opened that and exposed that, and have started to do some underground work here to prepare for the new plumbing, new HVAC system for the new building. Great. That was all I had.
Before you leave that, how did you protect the tiles and all that, where that little stair-looking thing is, where the wood was?
Let me go back to where you're.
More back. That one right there. See where that little stair or ladder, or whatever that is?
Yeah, there's a little tile mural
The tile
on the
mural.
wall.
I'm not saying this.
Where the ladder is placed. Isn't that mural right there?
Like on the other side of this wall right there, right? That
Yeah.
I haven't been over there lately, but that
I'm unsure. Let me take a look at some photos and I'll get back to you.
I'm just concerned for it being covered or whatever with all the
Absolutely.
vibration and
Yeah.
work. And
Yeah, absolutely. Let me take a look at some of my job site photos. I'll let you know.
Any other questions about Bob Lucas construction before we move on? I'm just trying to keep moving as quickly as we can because we got a lot to cover in our hour. So, but stop me if you have anything. Okay, I'm gonna sneeze that. Okay, moving on. All right, the main library project status. We're in the construction documents phase, about 75% complete. We're doing constructability review right now. We've already submitted to regional planning for a conditional use permit, just like we had to do on the Bob Lucas. Seems to be moving a little bit slowly, but we're trying to get a bead on what's happening there and make sure that keeps moving forward. We're also preparing to submit to the building department for plan check in the near future. And again, this project will go into construction after Bob Lucas is complete, so that would be at the earliest May of 25, assuming that we get all the approvals that we need by then. And that is all I have. I'm gonna pass it over to, yeah, go ahead.
Do you know what the CUP is for?
The CUP is because it is a library in a residential zone and didn't have a previous CUP. We argued that it shouldn't need one because of the minor amount of work that we're doing. Because when we were working on the Bob Lucas, they mentioned to us early on that, you know, if you weren't if you weren't adding so much square footage, we could do this as a site plan review. So we asked that question multiple times. Can we just do this as a site plan review since we're barely adding any square footage? And the answer came back, no, this is a CUP. So we're just trying to keep it moving forward as best we can. Try to hit our scheduled date. And any other questions before we pass it over to Mark? All right. Let's see.
So actually, I was going to let Amy talk about the interior, but I'll give you an update otherwise. So I don't know how.
Okay. I assume you need to change the sharing.
Just go ahead and maximize. Let Amy know.
Just have JC.
Sorry?
Amy's not in the room yet.
JC.
Hey, Mark, would you like, could you start off with the exterior?
I can start with the exterior. Can you get a hold of Amy?
Yes, I'm trying to get a hold of her now. Thanks.
All right, and also, so as Jennifer said, that we're 75% done with construction documents, and what that means basically is 99.9 or 8% of all design decisions have been made. And now they're all design corrections. You know, I've always said it's always easier and better to make changes while it's in paper as opposed to when it's being built. So there's no complaints about changes in the building. But all the decisions have been made about all the materiality, about the design. We're really just detailing like and getting them ready to submit to the city or excuse me, the county for plan check. So what I'm going to show you today are the materials that we're putting on the exterior of the building in addition to what's existing. It's a little bit different here. So you can there. And Amy will go over some of the design updates on things that have either changed or been added since the last time we talked. Don't think it's a whole lot. It's really limited to some specific things like the reference desk or the service desk and a few other things. So starting with the why, something we always like to do, is remember that we're treating this building as a historic resource, which means that according to the Secretary of Interior standards for working on historic resources, we don't want to duplicate what's here if it is a change. So if we're fixing something or if we're repairing something, we can use the same material, the same colors, don't have it. But if we're making a change, which we are making quite a few, then what we want to do is use a material that is different than the other ones and then the existing, and it's up to us how different. And the decision that was made 2 years ago now was that we wanted materiality and design that honored the original design of this project. So what we're going to show you is what those materials are, and there aren't a whole lot, and how they're different. So this building is made up of really 3 exterior materials: masonry, the sandblasted gray block you see all over the place, glass, clear stuff you don't see, and plastic. And those are really limited to a few walls and then the soffits and soffit. So what we have are block, and it's a masonry that will be the same texture, but a slightly different glossy, a pretty good contrasting color. One we think goes with it. We're going to put it in a different organization. Right now, you're building it done what they call a running bond. So you know how the typical brick pattern. We're going to do a stack bond, which is also very popular in this whole build. Again, to differentiate that, and we're using a smaller block so that it has a different scale. And that's really what this is about, a change of scale. The plaster that we're going to be using will be the same color, but if it's a new plaster that is done differently, it will be smoother. It will have the same. But everything else that we're repairing, and there's a lot of repair to do on the plaster, it'll be the same texture. It's heavy, it's called heavy dash. It'll be the same heavy dash. And then the glass, we're using clear glass, although updated throughout the building to meet current standards, with the exceptions of the clear story, because the clear stories are so important to the design of this building that in order to get it to meet current code, we would see a line of that was just something. So I'm going to start with, let's start with the block. So if you kind of, and there's no sample in here, but the current block is a kind of a gray, darker gray. We're going a warm color. In fact, all the colors we're introducing are a little bit more warm, having to do more with the wood that you see in here. So, this isn't the bead blasted, but the home block, the colors will kind of give you an idea. And you'll see it's the same stuff. It may be the same manufacturer from when this building was built. Another level of subtle design would be on the ground plane. So at your entry, we're going to use a very long paver, sand-set paver, as opposed to something sand like that, to give it a kind of a, say high end, but it's not an expensive way to go. It also allows water to soak in there. And the concrete that we're using on the south side, and we used new access to the bridge, on the north side will be this slightly warm red. And it's an integral color, so it should not stain, or should not fade. Pass those on. And interrupt me, please. This is certainly not a canned presentation. I'm thinking, I'll talk about this next. So any questions yet about those main material parts? So all the larger panes of glass stuff will do the dual pane. And I will tell you right now that those windows up front are enormous. And if you guys recall, if you were around, one of the biggest issues seismically with this building are the large windows. Old storefront is what it's called. Designed in this fashion probably would not survive. New systems allow the glass to move so you don't break and get all around.
Is it possible to get a picture of what it's going to look like?
I did not think that far in.
I can show just one of my
Okay.
slides here that shows the entry area that you can sort of point to.
Yeah. Thank you.
No? I guess
That was good.
I need to.
You can just leave that up, that's fine. So this is a great example of some of the differences.
Oops. Nope. Excuse me. I pressed a button that I shouldn't have pressed.
Shouldn't be.
I'll let you do it.
Ready?
Good.
Okay, so half step back, the masonry that you have existing is like this is just the south side, but you can kind of get an idea of wherever we're using it. This is that gray masonry that you have now. It's just the ones with the lights on there. Up on the upper level also is masonry. So what we're adding masonry is completing this wall here. This is for a seismic upgrade. Masonry walls especially don't like being above the ground. They like being on the ground, so we'll give it that. And then inside, which you can't really see in the way, you can kind of see this, a elevator tower. And that also will be in this, wherever it is, kind of warm colored block. And then that stacked pattern. And it actually butts up against some of the existing block. You can see right out of that. So again, it's real important so that when someone walks in and asks the question, someone else can explain, oh, well, this was remodeled and seismically upgraded and access was given to it in 2025. I guess 2026 is going to be completed. And here's what was and here's what is.
So I can picture it. So the wall that you're upgrading there, that's going to be the gray block here.
No, this that gray that you see there will actually be on the ground plane. It's the tan stuff that you see that's going to be. You can almost see a slight difference in color. So, and it's a little bit more yellow. So yellow and gray is a nice combination.
And where does the composite go?
What's that?
The composite, the first one you passed through?
Yeah, this is a simple, I'll CMU block, masonry, like walls and stuff, looks like this if you sandblasted your home. They hide all this wonderful color. It's a real shame, but it's less expensive. And it's easier to paint when it's not like this. Tag. The other nice thing about it, I'll let you also know, one of the reasons why we are also doing bead blasted is so that if someone should ever tag it, you just have to come back and power wash it or sandblast it, which is coatings or anything like that. So when you're done, it's not like you have this clear or clean area that looked exactly like tag. When it's a regular black block, if you do that, you'll see it or whatever. So we're real hesitant. Not that you guys have really had any time. And then the tan concrete was all this curb work and everything coming in and over. It's not showing a lot of the landscape that's going to be here. There will be plants and stuff. We wanted to show you. So storefront. So these windows I was telling you out front, they have the kind of this light bronze look, or material on the window frames themselves. We're going to be keeping those. Anything we're just replacing that. So for the new stuff, we're going dark. This is called a dark bronze, which is what you're seeing here. One thing also that you don't have right now that we're adding are some screens. The current screens on the roof are these low things that kind of look like sloped roofs, and they're made from expanded metal, very similar to this. And unfortunately, when the HVAC units were put in this building originally, they were only about 4 feet high. And now they're about 7 feet high. They're much bigger than they used to be. So the existing screens no longer work, no longer fit, and would be prohibitively expensive to duplicate and really look huge to get that big. So what we opted was a simple vertical screen using the same kind of fabric, called fabric. It's about this scale, but it'll be finished and pre-finished. It's all aluminum, so there'll be no rust, as well as we went with aluminum because of the weight. And it's kind of neat stuff. When it'll be up that high, it lets wind and everything else pass through, which is important, but you won't be able to see what the cap is. And they'll be in another frame. Any questions? For the deck, you can't see it in this image, but right off of this room right here, we're going to be adding some doors, sliding glass doors, and right out here will be a good-sized deck. Deck's maybe about the size of where I'm standing over and around. So it's not quite doubling this space, but it's at least 50, maybe 70% more. That's also that when you guys do have large events, you have room to grow and move. Plus, you'll get this extra light in here. We're also cutting a large window on this side too, so people can see in and see what's going on. But that deck, as well as the, we're doing also a patio up front, or kind of a deck out front for reading and such, will be made of a synthetic material called Trex. I'm sure you've heard of this. It's not the Trex that was introduced 25 years ago. The stuff is pretty amazing and has a really good wear pattern. The other stuff we've shown over years, not to take heat of. Let me step to the bridge, the two bridges. We're refurbishing those bridges. Somewhere along the line, wood was replaced with a pressure-treated wood, with the idea that pressure-treated wood lasts longer than non-pressure-treated wood, which is true. But one of the challenges we've had is the fact that the span across that, which is about 10 feet, is a little too great for a 4x4. And then somewhere along the line, somebody came in with a girder in the middle, which was probably not that. In lieu of replacing the girder with something that's looking like it was purposeful, we're going with a deeper piece of wood so that it will span freely. We're using Epe, I do not have a sample of it, but it starts off dark and turns silver, very similar to what this has. But Epe is like one of the hardest woods in the world. I have a cabinet of it on my patio. I need to drill a hole through it. It's like going through metal. But it should last as long, if not longer, than what the original is. And we're deepening it, but notching it, so from the front side, you would never know. If you go out there now, you'll notice, I think that there's a screen to it, right? Because a lot of the rods are kind of rotted. We're replacing all that with stainless steel. And even though we would, the spacing on them is 7.5 inches. And that is 3.5 inches too wide. So we didn't want to add a bunch of verticality. We didn't think that that was appropriate for the nature of that bridge. That bridge, by the way, is one of the integrating aspects to the building. So what we decided to do, and this will be a material that we're using for all of our guardrails and throughout the building, is we're going to put a metal mesh panel on the inside of it. It'll be connected with these small connectors, and it'll have a metal frame around it, all stainless, so it won't rust. And the reason why we went with a metal mesh is something solid we have used, so that it's a little hard to tell inside, but this stuff will almost disappear at times. So there will be times of the day it's like glass. Sometimes you can see through glass, and sometimes you can't. Same thing with this stuff. So if the sun is behind you, you'll see it. The sun is in front of you. But we wanted something that contrasted with the existing. Is easy to install, easy to repair, so you can take out a panel and replace a panel. Amazingly durable. This stuff is stiff. We use it in schools all the time, athletic. And we chose a random pattern because we wanted to contrast greatly with the absolute rigidity of that 7.5 inch spacing of those verticals. To have that consistency of what's old and what's new, that's why we brought it into the building for the railings over the balcony that overlook the lobby as well as around the deck. It'll be the same kind of metal panel that's consistent throughout. Again, telling or signaling people, oh, this must be new. Yeah. A small thing, and I have the stone samples, but they weigh too much and they're stone, so I just want you guys not to be surprised when you see this, but the existing stone walls are what we call river rock or cobblestones. Again, in the spirit of the what's new is new and what's not, we're going to go with the same colorways, but with a little bit much more rectangular type of rock. And in the same fashion that this is a dry stack, we'll do this as a dry stack. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear so that when you guys go out and by the way, you guys will all now become understudies to explain to people. Well, that was because this is new. So I have one last thing to share with you. Before I do, any questions?
I'm assuming you're not going to utilize the roof cable.
Just to keep the rain out. We are, I think we tested it. I think it can handle solar panels, and that'll probably happen. Yes, sir.
So 2 questions. One, the glazing you mentioned, the intensity, have you arrived at percentage?
We're shooting for just what we would call clear, I think it's like a solar panel, but with a low E coating, which acts reflective to some level. But from the inside, it's pristine. From the outside, you get
I was interested in the mesh material on the bridge, which seems like a good idea. I'm sure it will disappear. My Parks and Rec background, I recall bigger captures. So you have fall zone, you have I'm not on my training, but if it were too attractive, and so there's a simple guideline in there, and this wouldn't apply as a But
Right.
there may be something you could do to kind of, you make it a little larger than a kid's finger, or probably larger, but it's a lot.
Wasn't even in our radar to think of it because it's not a play area. Yeah, we've done some skate parking stuff. I didn't realize how dangerous off the water that piece would be until I learned about that. That's something we'll look into. Again, just not on our radar because of its function. Yeah, I wouldn't want something so small because then it starts becoming solid, and of course, if it's larger, then it becomes moot. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't. This wouldn't qualify.
Yeah,
More
it's-
about getting too much stuff.
Right.
Stock
So
or
it's
then
larger.
like you're walking, then
If
the
it were more uniform in the largest area,
yeah. It could also be a great lesson for the child. I should have said that, but how could I resist?
They can learn it somewhere else.
Any other questions?
Just curious, why not use tracks for the ePay in both spaces versus one and one?
So the ePay is on the existing bridge.
Okay, so
And
that is ePay.
that isn't it, right. The others are the tracks. And the tracks just can't stand that.
Right.
And it wouldn't look like the original. Because that's a repair, right? So we just wanted to make sure it had all the same attributes.
So does it make sense to do the ePay in the front, or is it back to this methodology of wanting to keep it continuous?
It's the methodology of that as well as the maintenance. I mean, as maintenance-free as FA is, and that's a location that's a few feet off the ground, so it's nowhere as exposed to varmints and water or moisture.
Other things.
Yeah, we thought that it would best, they run about the same costs, it's not, but I think this stuff. So the last thing I want to share with you, Amy, is the glazing on this front window is facing south, and so one thing we did want to do is cut out the amount that comes in there. Make sure we don't have glare issues, make sure we can kick in heat issues. And one way to do that is called a frit, F-R-I-T. And what it is, it's a ceramic dot. And it's pretty amazing. You've seen these things and you probably never even realized you've seen them. But you can actually block out 80% of the sun on it, even 90% of the sun with these little dots. And so you glean all that savings and heat gain and glare, but you can still see through it. It's pretty cool. So we figured that was a good way to handle this, but we wanted something that wasn't just functional. And the idea came is to celebrate another piece of this library that is in there. It's the wood carvings. You've seen those, the tile, the wood carving tiles around the, I should have one of those. I need to steal one. So these carvings were done by this couple in the 60s, and they're just gorgeous. They're flowers and birds and trees and stuff. So what we decided we would do is take those patterns in the, I think Amy may have the layout of it, but we would take those patterns and we would use those on the frit. And they will be giant. This is a like a full scale of one of the smaller ones. You can imagine this blown up to cover 3 or 4, so that it's not saying, oh, here are these tiles, but it's just simply celebrating the tiles. And the neat thing about this, and I'm going to leave this with Nikki, and she'll put it in one of the windows, is like I was mentioning, during the day in the library, you'll see that. You won't even, you'll just get a hint that it's there. Or from the outside looking in, you'll see it as clear as you can see it now. And it switches at night. So at night, when you're looking in, you won't really see it, so you can see it in the library. But at night, it becomes a piece of artwork. We're pretty excited about this. And we can do these all in colors and such, but we thought was just a white. It's very, very neutral. It's really, really cool. And we're still experimenting with whether it's a dot or a negative dot as this, when we get those samples. But I'll turn it over to Amy now.
Well, Mark, let me just ask you this question.
Oh, man, I thought I could get away
I
from
know.
that.
So there's not gonna be any like little secret dots with your name in it or somebody's name in it or something that we won't know until 20 years later when.
Subliminal.
Yeah, well, I mean, some
Mark, that's
architects.
a great idea.
Go ahead and take over
No.
presenting.
Well, the closest thing I ever did to that was on a block pattern, I used Morse code on a Boy Scout. I think it said something like Boy Scouts are cool. So, I mean, we're nice, good people. If we did anything like that, it would be definitely in the office.
So this is how you think you're gonna get your name on it?
Oh, is this a request? People named Mark are awesome, yeah.
Yeah. I think, I was simply gonna ask if somewhere or at some point it would exist, an elevation in full color. An
We
elevation rendering to
will do
actually-
that. I feel embarrassed a little bit. I didn't think, oh, they'll want to see this, because we were so excited from looking at that. And hopefully we'll see if Amy may have that PDF and you can see what that wall would look like.
Even if it's sent after, it'd be amazing, just to get a sense of how all of those pieces fit together, and especially as some of us in our role is
Yeah, we probably owe you an updated image of what, at least the south side.
What we really want is a model.
Amy, you there?
Yep, I'm here. Sorry, can you see my screen? I hit share.
Yeah, we can see your screen. We're gonna turn you up a little so that you don't have to yell. And by the way, do you have a PDF of
The Frit, yes.
grid layout?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can share that.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, this is Amy Crawford, our interior designer on this project. She's associate with the firm. She's been with the firm forever. She's been involved in this project since before the project, and is intimate with everything. And if you have some really difficult questions, ask her.
Thank you, Mark. So I cannot see all of you, so I don't actually know who all I'm presenting to. So I think you can probably see me. So what I'm going to share, it's not an entire design update. It's really just the last design update that we had a meeting for. So it's going to show you some key renderings of some key spaces and some interesting things that we had updates to that we wanted to share with the group. So again, not going to cover everything. So this is just the slides from that meeting that we did. So one of the main things that we talked about is the service desk, the main service desk on the main level. We went through several iterations of this and decided to build something out that had more presence in the space. And we really wanted to be able to utilize, Mark talked a little bit about the wooden tiles just a bit ago. We really wanted to utilize those where we could in the library, and the service desk felt like a really great space to do that. We received feedback from the facilities committee about some iterations that we had shown, and this was the result of making those updates and changes. So we dropped everything a little bit lower. So when people come in the front door, which is just right over here to the right of my cursor, they come in and it's welcoming. There's going to be a bookshelf here where they can display a variety of items, from books to things that maybe got created in the makerspace to, pamphlets or here's the events that are coming up type of thing. And then the desk surface is low around the entire thing. It allows for access for people that might be mobility challenged or be in a wheelchair. And the desks for the staff members are height adjustable. That's pretty much a standard these days for ergonomic reasons, allows people of different body types, height, sizes to feel comfortable at the desk. They can sit or stand. And then there is a transaction surface here that allows for somebody to, I feel like I show my age when I say write a check, but, fill something out that they might need to do, to write something. You can see a little bit more of the library in these shots. They're not fully rendered. They're just really focused on the spaces that we are looking at, but you can see the application of some of these materials to the desk. So we're looking at using a material that has a little bit of a concrete look for the surfaces, the work surfaces. And then we're incorporating some warm woods and then those wood tiles. So it'll be a nice warm juxtaposition against the sort of concrete look. I don't know if you guys have questions, so I'm gonna keep going, and maybe Mark, if somebody has a question, you can let me know since I can't see.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye out for
Okay.
you.
And then just these arrows show you a little bit of, what are we looking at? So this view is looking at it from this direction as you come up the stairs. And then this view down here is looking as if you've come off the elevator and you're coming towards the desk from there. Just two more views of that same space. So you can see here, you can see somebody waving. You head down the stairs here. So you can see another view of the desk there. And then this is from the opposite corner. And this white shape here, there's actually a column there. So that you can still kind of see the desk. We just showed the column kind of.
So this is where the current Friends of the Library book stands. Sorry.
Another really cool element that we have been able to incorporate into this space is, so right now you have a library of things as part of the library. We will have a space to actually have a display, and the inspiration for it was vintage vending machines, kind of go along with the era of the building. So it's in this space right here as you come up the stairs, or you come in the entrance from the main level. And it's this vending machine look. So it'll have little shelves on the inside. It'll be behind glass. And those shelves can have little 3D models maybe that were printed of the items that are available to check out. It could have a little card or placard or something that indicates the item to be checked out. That's something that library staff will maintain and change out as needed. There will also be a digital screen on the inside that has a list of the items. And then the library staff will work with the library guests to check out that item. The finishes for that are here, the same wood tone that we're using elsewhere in the library. And I'm hoping to come up with some interesting signage for the top of it that's here that is maybe reminiscent of some of the really iconic text that came out of that era. That there's probably still quite a lot of down in Southern California. We don't see quite as much of that up here in Northern California. And then, so that's the display for the Library of Things. We also have the storage room for the items for, the staff to have it right next to the desk, right next to that display. So in this space, we have a couple of different things I want to show you. So we have a laptop kiosk that will be allow for people to come and check out laptops. We have a book drop cart. So there is a book drop happening here on this side. And then there's also a digital display. So what you're seeing is here. I'll show you this image. This is pretty good. So this is the laptop checkout kiosk. We'll have a digital display here. And then the book drop will be here. So this will just go right into a bin that's inside this storage room that we have created, which allows for the space to hold the Library of Things items. So there will be shelving in here that will hold the banjo or the sewing machines or whatever isn't checked out will live in this room. And that is right there again, adjacent to the service desk. You come off the elevator from over here and it's all right in this direction. You come off the stairs and it's right here. Another design element that we worked through the details on and came up with something interesting on is this plinth, I guess we could call it, as you come down the ramp. So we now have a ramp to come down into the sunken living room, or I've heard it called a couple different things, reading court, etc. And in order to do that and not have people fall, off the stair or off the ramp, we had to put something here that would allow that to be safe. So we incorporated seating into it. So it's to mimic the concrete that is happening, the existing concrete that is happening over here in the planters, the existing planters. And then we'll put some cushions in it so people can sit here. Maybe they're waiting for service at the desk or they're waiting for somebody to meet them. It's a great little place to perch and sit. Another spot that we needed to come up with a design solution is at the end of this planter. Because we have the ramp, we needed to put something there to, again, block that end of the ramp so somebody wouldn't walk into it and trip. So we've added an extension to this planter unit here. So that's where we're showing this. And it's kind of nice because you can see a different vantage point of this library space from this location. Another key thing that we highlighted here is that we are aiming to keep the existing tile for its historical significance rather than replacing it with a new material. So that was a revised rendering showing that to indicate that we're keeping that tile. Another really neat thing that we worked out is on the lower level, we have this space and it's kind of an alcove here. And we went back and forth a lot on what to do about the lighting there because we need to adequately light that space. And we have these coffers and we don't want to have exposed conduit. It was challenging. So we found this really unique light fixture that allows us to basically kind of snake the power in the direction that we need it to go and pull the power from a location where you can't see exposed conduit. The way that we decided to do that was to pop out this really warm toned wood wall, again, using the same woods that we're using upstairs, that allows us to hide the power in it and gives us the space for a community board as well as the donor wall. So we're using this space on the lower level for those things. And then we are mimicking this light fixture that is headed down this corridor. We had something different here and we changed it to this. This is a couple of views from the manufacturer's documentation. This is a little bit tough to see, but this is probably the one that's closest to the look we'll have. It's just a little bit shorter, but this light fixture can do a lot of really cool things. That was what we were highlighting here. And then Mark mentioned the frit. So this is the proposed design for the frit. So we're taking the imagery from the wood tiles and making it more abstracted and graphic by blowing them way up or, you know, tiling them and having several of them in the same window pane. And again, Mark mentioned that we're still working through whether, you know, what's the opacity of the frit or if it's a solid background or just the dots. So that's something we're working through, but this will help you to get an idea of how that will look in that space. This here is the front portion. And then this little piece over here is as you've turned this corner over the door out to the patio. So it does wrap around. That is what I have from that last presentation. Mark, is there anybody that has questions?
Can you put it on the window design real quick? I want to point something else.
Yeah.
For those of you who've asked before, currently on this wall here is the owl sculpture. You can see it now. It'll be adjacent to the stair, brought inside and stuff. And that one's in really good shape, and I don't think it was a foul from the beginning. So, any questions on what this man?
Where are we going to dance?
Say again?
Where are we going to dance?
Where are you going to dance? Where do you dance now? In the main space?
Yeah, you're talking for like second Saturdays?
Yeah.
Yeah, that area will still remain or be available for that. That was one of a very important aspect to when we laid out everything. We also have what they call an additive alternate. That is an option that those front windows will become sliding doors, and you can open it up to even expand more, very similar to what we're doing here. And there'll be a deck out here.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I couldn't
nice
hear the
thing
question,
about this
but I'm assuming you answered it.
I'm answering, yeah. Where are they going to dance? What's the questioning?
Where are the books?
Oh, no books. The books are no. If you go back, go through some of your other images out there, but we have different areas that have collections located. Kind of see, stop right there. Okay, you can see kind of in back there, this is where the adult collection is. So we're using the collection to kind of segregate by adult reading and some of the more, I'm going to say more intimate spaces. I don't know if we have a view, but for the children's collection, it sits in kind of the opposite corner of that, kind of keep them as far as possible, away as possible. And then the teen collection or the young adult collection is in their own, they have their own glass enclosure so that they can be teens and young adults without any Here.
Yeah, so you can see this is again looking over the service desk back to the children's area. So their shelving is lower because they're lower. So it's harder to see here, but their shelving is all back behind here. And then Mark mentioned the teens area that is enclosed. So it is back behind this door and this glass wall. They
There.
again have their
See.
own.
Young adult. Any other questions?
Was library of things going inside that area? I mean, not library of things, I'm sorry, the fab, the fab lab?
Fab Lab has moved downstairs. It originally was gonna be here, but
Yeah.
we couldn't do the, full addition. It was thought better down there, because really the top floor is maxed out for these kinds of functions. Unless we wanted to move somebody down, and that didn't make a lot of sense.
Better sound, not soundproof, but, you know.
Well, it's a concrete
I don't know,
floor
it's not
separating them, yeah. It actually, I think, is gonna work well. It also allows the after-hours operation, if so chosen. Thought to-
So back in the 2.0, Amy, go back to 2.0.
Why not?
The windows are.
So on that one right there,
Mhm.
so where the wall is, it says Altadena something library. What is it?
Main?
Altadena Main Library. So that wall now, the glass isn't coming all the way out to there, but
No, this is a axisymmetric, not a perspective. So this is the existing wall.
yeah,
There'll be,
what's gonna be behind that wall?
there will be a low wall and planter that kind of brings it up to the level, this level, mid-level, and then just paving area.
Yeah, so all that storage and all that utilization out there gets put inside a room somewhere?
Some of the storage is being relocated to the west side, creating pads for those metal sheds. I'm not sure about the other stuff.
I think it looks great.
Thank you.
The glass is really.
Pretty exciting about that. Very exciting about that. Thank you. Any other questions for Amy before she has to go? Amy, anything else to add? JC?
No, I know that there was some interest from Jennifer and Nikki maybe to go over the furniture for Bob Lucas. So I have that here. I don't know if we have time to do it, but if you wanted to, we could look at that real quick.
I'm
Can we spend, yeah. just-
I'm seeing heads nodding yes. And while you bring that up, JC, can you introduce yourself real quick? I don't think this group has met you yet.
Absolutely, yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm kind of here behind the scenes. I'm JC Famat, so I'm the senior project manager with ABA, working on this Altadena Main project, as well as assisting with some construction administration on the Bob Lucas branch. So happy to be here, working behind the scenes.
Yeah, I don't know if you recall Supriya. She was the project manager. And she is, I think she's retired. I should pull that. With JC.
Okay.
All right, go for it.
Okay, so this was, again, this is just a copy of the last meeting that we had to review furniture. So this is just a high-level look at the furniture that we have for the space. These are the finishes for Bob Lucas. This is your carpet. These are tack panel finishes or acoustic panel finishes. These are some tiles, casework, flooring, and the wood slat ceiling that we have going into this space. So again, I'm not going to go over all of that. This is just here for reference, but this is to look at the furniture plan. So because it is a separate ball of wax from doing the construction. So this is the plan in its entirety. You've got the children's area up here as you come in. We have adults reading here with some computer tables, some just basic tables for people to sit at, and then a small lounge area here. And then this is the literacy center and the study rooms over in this side. And then we have the staff workspace here. Service desk smack in the middle. So that's a quick overview of the space. We have a really nice outdoor space as part of this library, and we will be populating that with outdoor furniture as well. So super exciting staff chair, comfy chair. I'm actually sitting in one of the same ones right now. Just keeping it basic, in some solid-ish sort of grays. And then we have, this I need to update because we've made some changes. I didn't get a new rendering of it yet, but a computer table that will allow for 4 stations for library guests to sit at. Our chairs are going to be this gray on the back and this sort of aqua teal on the seat. And then the desk itself will have this carbon ash wood leg, a really warm wood top, and a bright kind of pea green for the panels that separate the people that are sitting at that station. And that, again, is right here. This is just some reference for some other stuff that's going on in space with the acoustic panels. We aren't doing any paint on these walls as far as accent colors. It's really coming from the colorful acoustic panels. And then here we have, this has been updated. We have 3 tables here now, but we have some tables that people can sit at with their computer just to read, play a game, dominoes, whatever. And then some chairs that will, the seats flip up and they can nest. And they don't quite look like this because they didn't have exact images available on their website, but this is the line that it comes from. And then as you move into the literacy center and the study rooms, we have some more simplistic tables. It's a little smaller in these finishes. And then our chairs are pretty much the same, but they have this gray mesh back and the aqua seat here again. And then our small lounge area in the adults area of the library, we went a little off color palette to do something a little bit different. And we're using this more colorful sort of pinwheel design with the inclusion of orange on the chair. And then we have some soft ottomans that are being used as a coffee table and a side table, and it will be in these colors. The fabric will be on the base and the wood tone will be the top. And then our children's area is going to be really fun, energetic and bright. We've got our angled windows that we have right on the corner of the building, super prominent as you drive down the street. And as you come inside, we've continued the lines of those with the acoustic panels that are on these 2 walls. So you can see a representation of that here. This is the children's area again. So those windows are here on this pointy corner. And then we've got a couple of tables and chairs for the kids to sit at, some soft ottomans that can be moved around if they're doing story time. And then there's a unit here that is children's size. So it's children's height with a soft ottoman here. So I'll show you what we've got for that. So our tables and chairs are going to be this maple with this sort of greenish tealish color on the seat, similar to what you see here. This image is not reflective of the shape that we have, but it's the same line. It will be this type of seat with this low back and low seat here. And the finishes for those, for this unit is this one with the animals and bugs and birds. And if you know the artist Charlie Harper, this is print from Charlie Harper. And these are all, I'll call them wipeable fabrics. You might think of them as vinyl. We try not to do vinyl as much as we can these days, unless it's phthalate free and all of that stuff so that it's better for indoor air quality. But these are all something that will wipe off really easily if something were to spill. So these 2 are on that sofa unit. And then this one here is what is on the ottoman that is right in front of that. So that's these guys right here. And then this little variety of little ottomans that we have over here will be a mix of this blue and again the print with the animals and bugs and birds. So that there's a lot of color happening in this space. We have this concentration, I guess you could say, of the colorful carpet that kind of subtly peters out, is what I was going to say, to more of the gray. And then as you come across into the adults, it's the more gray. And then as you go into the literacy center, it does this again, where it starts to concentrate the color more as you go farther into the literacy center. We have a couple of desks for staff, just two, one at the service desk and one back in their staff space. It'll be a height adjustable desk in these finishes. And we've thought about things like cable management, so we've included that level of detail in our spec documents. And then we have a couple of things that we're going to reuse. One of these book bins that is at Main right now. So that's going to go here at the end of this seating unit so that we can have some board books and things that the kids can, you know, look through a little bit differently than looking at something just on a shelf. A couple of other miscellaneous items back in the staff area. We'll have the book drop. We have just the one gondola that's here in outside of the study rooms on your way back to the literacy center. And then the shelving is a big part, as you know, of a library. We are planning to reuse shelving from Maine and have it, I would say refurbished, not necessarily refurbished, but have new end caps put on that are going to work better for the color palette that is happening at Bob. Excuse me, at Bob Lucas. I always just call it Bob. So you'll see here where we were working through the heights that we're using and what will be going into the spec document. Our self-check is here on this counter right next to the staff member that is here. And then we added outdoor furniture, and that's what this is indicating. So you can see there's a variety of pieces here. I won't go in depth into this, but I know there's like a faux grass here, and we have either a paver or concrete that goes around that and back into this space. So the chairs, and fun fact, I was out this weekend and I actually got to sit in some of these that were at a shopping center. So I was happy to be able to see one in person out in the wild. So we've got a variety. We try to always have seating options that will work for, you know, somebody that wants an arm so that they can push up to get out. Maybe somebody doesn't want an arm. Something that's a little bit more reclined, something that's a little bit more of a straight sit. And then we also have 2 rocking chairs for fun. So these are the outdoor lounge chairs. Then we have, you wouldn't call this a lounge. This one is the one that will be at a table. So where we have some cafe tables will be these chairs. I think this is the one that I sat in. And then we also have some children's furniture. So we'll have the matching table and chairs where we have that happening. We've got a couple of little benches or little stools that we'll be using that are softer. And then maybe for story time, they want to come out and they have these little cushions that go on this rack, and they can pull those little cushions out and each get to sit on their own cushion if they're going to have outdoor story time. So that is the update for furniture for Bob Lucas. Are there any questions about that?
Yeah, on the either 2.0, go back to the picture that shows the outdoor garden area also on that.
This one?
Yeah, that'll work. The 0-0 landscape. So I don't know, maybe it just slipped my mind on something, but I really thought the children's area was on one side and the literacy was in the other, only because I thought from the literacy main room that's over there on the far left now, is that still going to open to the outside, or the only opening is right through the other doors?
It's just the pair of doors to the outside.
I'm sorry?
Pair of doors provided the same purple tables and chairs there.
Yeah, so that is a sliding door?
No, this is.
No, not that, yeah, I understand that one, I knew that was always good. That's solid, I'm saying on the far left, there's not a way to walk right on out to the outside?
And this has always been the literacy center space.
So are there windows all there that you can see what's going on outside?
Yes, sir.
Right, does you know what that?
Yeah, those represent windows. A lot of them.
On the same room that you mentioned earlier, an alternate that could be for the movable sliding. door.
That was here.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And is that still under 300,000 for your pricing for that additive?
I don't recall.
Just asking, this may be redundant, and I'm very possibly mistaken. But as I'm looking at this entire outdoor area and trying to conceptualize where that is, I'm guessing that wall is our mural. The mural did get preserved.
Yes.
And then we've annexed that parking, this beautiful exterior space, and then all the parking you should put over here, and we're able to make that happen without initial plan. That's accurate?
So you have, you check.
Okay, great. So
The one thing is, I believe it's not a refurbishment of the mural, it's going to be
restoration, it's a full restoration.
Zoom out just a little. Yeah, and the parking, we got through the county number and all that stuff.
Like, oh my gosh. Bus stop. Or I think we got the bus stop moving. It'll be, so the bus stop is just gonna shift up the block. So we'll be in a run. I just never.
So the 2, 3, or 4 staff working take up 4 of the 9 spaces. Or something, right? Is that what we?
There's 12 spaces, so they would take up 4, they can park on the street.
Or if they're renting like bikes.
Indoor bikes.
Indoor bikes.
So here we'll have indoor bikes, so I don't think we have it at Bob.
Here would be, an option. And, this,
They could put it in the staff area, I mean, it's not like there's a huge number of them.
But either way, we got a bunch of them.
but it's been approved by building department.
County
About it.
planning.
To have.
Yeah, planning. Anything else? Any other questions?
Is there a gate to Lincoln from the outside garden?
Yes,
That's what the walk path is, right?
exactly. Our guess is that will not be used a whole lot, that's more for maintenance. Anything else? Jennifer or Nikki, you want to close the meeting?
Yeah, I mean,
Or Katie, I'm sorry.
I guess what I'll say is just that, we're in the process, obviously, right now, of construction of Aquarius, and we are nearing a final set of designs for the main library. And I think at both locations, the big takeaway is just, even if we're keeping largely consistent building footprints, the experience of those buildings is going to be a lot more natural light. We're going to have comfortable chairs, we're going to have actual seating, we're going to have the ability to use outdoor spaces in the way we've done before. I think it's just really well. Yeah, I think it's really well.
I really appreciate that aspect on it, because I agree. I mean, especially here, the experience is going to be Bob Lucas, it'll just feel like you can move your arms like this and not hit somebody.
For Bob Lucas, saying that, or, for neighbors on the west side, and we got to Bob Lucas too also, but I think having the middle system.
And we just, we are maintaining the garden, the food garden or composting space that is on that west side. And I mean, there were specific questions and made sure we got in the spec. The irrigation needs to be remaining on. They're doing the grading now, and it's just a terrible mess. So don't judge by that, but and give it a month, and that should be cleaned up, and then we'll have it better. We did lose that tree.
I thought we would, the people freak out. That was, we all, that's what I thought, but I also was a little upset. Well, I haven't heard any feedback.
Well, that's good. Because,
Yeah.
no one's shown up at my house with pitchforks and torches, but go ahead, Katie.
I was just gonna say, so in that area where we're bumping our pipe birch and fence. So yeah, the tree did go, and unfortunately, in order to get the tree out, some of the native garden. But the goal is that when the project is finished, all of the original trees will go back in.
Also, we did have a community member who actually worked during that when we installed the native plant. She was able to rescue some. So, yeah, the ones that did could go.
Yeah. Thank you.
So at the very beginning, Mark, you said something about the actual cost estimate or the work that's going on now at Bob, meaning the construction and everything around it, was a little less than you would estimate. Right? Is that
Yeah,
It
our
bid
last
less, yeah.
estimate before bidding was for the construction. And,
Yeah, and did all the other soft costs stay similarly the same? Or did any of those make any adjustments?
We see a little bit of increases in our special inspections and abatement monitoring as well. I'm expecting, but this point is going to given the low bid that's more so far. And as part of the construction cost, we've got a couple of credits coming for a couple of things. We're probably going to do a little bit of extra work that will kind of even that up. Seal coat.
I think the seal code is currently,
Right,
Right.
but then we're going to actually do it.
Yeah.
It needs to be done. So we're in good shape.
And the all-in project budget for Bob Lucas, for your most recent, we're still right on track for 5.
Has any of the contingency had to be touched yet?
Not at it was.
Yeah, not yet. We're still, at the very beginning. We have one preliminary change order right now, and it's a small credit. We do have a couple other larger credits coming. There are a couple of things that we'll see extras for, some things that we have with demolition. But everything that I know about right now, I think is pretty much going to be probably a wash list, a slight increase, but we've got 10% construction. Things that we're in good shape.
was the 10% on the estimate or on the actual?
I think we got working for 10% on the actual.
Okay.
We need to talk about that. I mean, but again, what's in the plans right now is just a seal cases. So, we'll maybe get pricing on.
There's a couple things, is that the county, even at replacement, looks at if you're replacing it, they want it to meet certain new rules regarding stormwater. We need to do a little research on what that actually means, and it may behoove us to look at something permeable that may mitigate other needs of the county. We have to be very careful, because it could just spoil the project. And that's why we just went with the slurry cover originally. It would have spoiled the project. Fabulous.
Thank you guys so much for being here, and we will keep you in the loop as we have more updates to share, but if you didn't get a chance to look at any of the samples, you also will take a look at another. I was gonna say, in real life.
Yeah, and don't forget, we have the website, the next chapter page, which Brandon keeps as updated as possible. So please refer people to that, or to me if they have questions. Yeah.